Donald Trump took aim at the world today, including Australia. This was classic isolationist Trump, turning his back on countries abroad, friends and foes alike, in order to trumpet populist, protectionist economics for his domestic audience.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Yeah, American wealth and just an economic headache for trading nations. In the wake of his announcements, the stock markets have been hammered with tens of billions of dollars in value lost around the world. The Australian dollar has fallen and speculation of a US recession has increased. Make no mistake, this is a global economic shock, but it plays out stridently here at the start of our election campaign. Remember, Australia has a free trade agreement with the US, a much vaunted free trade agreement struck under John Howard and George W. Bush 20 years ago. But it matters little to Donald Trump.
Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight.
Now, he's right. We don't put tariffs on US beef, but we have bans based on mad cow disease. This is what Trump is doing. He's looking at any impediments or restrictions on US trade and using them as a justification for retaliatory tariffs. This is such major upheaval, such a wild and unprecedented shake-up of global trade policy that our Prime Minister initially seemed uncertain about whether our beef exports might have been banned and exactly what would be subjected to tariffs.
Is there a ban on beef imports?
Our understanding is that there is I heard President Trump's comments that were made. Our understanding at this point is that that is a 10% tariff across the board. On the first question, yes, we have received confirmation that what we thought was the case, that it's just a 10% tariff. Similarly, the competitors, I just spoke with the head of the National Farmers Federation about 15 minutes ago as well and confirmed that with him. I've also spoken to beef producers and confirmed it with them.
Everybody was trying to work it all out. The bottom line is that beef is the pretext here, but everything exported from Australia to the US will be hit by a 10% tariff. And it's important to remember that beef happens to be our biggest export to the States, upwards of $4 billion a year. This turns the thrust of US economic policy and global trade policy on its head, especially for a trading nation like ours that's weathered considerable economic pain for decades in order to get rid of tariffs and embrace free trade. The economic debate has produced a unity ticket for the election contenders.
President Trump referred to reciprocal tariffs. A reciprocal tariff would be 0, not 10%. The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. This is not the act of a friend.
I think this is a bad day for our country, and it's not the treatment that Australians deserve, because we have a very trusted, long-standing and abiding relationship with the United States. It spans 100 years, and we have fought alongside and with the Americans in every major battle over that period of time. We have a special relationship with the United States, and it hasn't been treated with respect by the administration or by the President.
But that's where the agreement between the election contenders ends. The opposition leader also sheets home some of the blame to the Prime Minister.
I just don't think the Prime Minister has the strength or the ability to stand up to a situation that is unacceptable to us. This is a bad day for our country, and I want to resolve the matter. And the question for us now is, who is best able to deal with this relationship? Who is best able to deal with an uncertain time in national security sense as well as an economic sense. And the times at the moment don't require a weak leader, and Mr Albanese has demonstrated that again today.
Now, this is a reasonable attack up to a point. Albanese is weak. We've seen that time and again. And the coalition did wrangle an exemption out of Trump last time he imposed tariffs. And Albanese, Labor and especially the former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, now in the hot seat as our US ambassador, well, they've all hurled abuse at Donald Trump for many years.
The United States in the last 4 years has been run by a village idiot.
We have an alliance with the US, we've got to deal with him, but that doesn't mean that you're uncritical about it. He scares the out of me.
Yeah, so it's little wonder they have trouble even speaking with Trump now, let alone winning concessions from him.
The Prime Minister hasn't been able to get a call or a meeting with President Trump, but that needs to change. And he needs to do everything he can to leverage the ambassador and others to get the relationship normalised. It's obvious that the Prime Minister didn't know anything about this announcement until it was actually released to the press, which also speaks to the state of the relationship at the moment.
But this debate will now remain critical from this point right through till the election day and beyond, because this is clearly not a blanket return to protectionism globally. Trump knows that tariffs will increase costs for all Americans. He knows that they will be a wet blanket on the global economy, jeopardising the very economic growth that he's staked his reputation on. The US president wants other countries to get rid of their trade barriers, cut their tariffs and quotas and restrictions, free up their trade the way the US has done until now, and in return, he'll get rid of the tariffs that he's just imposed. This is a hugely risky gamble, make no mistake, especially during uncertain economic times. It could all end in disaster. But if it frees up global trade, it could have the opposite effect, of course. So what Australia needs to do is either explain away or remove any trade restrictions we have, like the ban on US beef, so that we can leverage a decision out of Washington that will scrap the tariffs on our goods just as quickly as they've come in.
The beef issue was about mad cow disease, to give it its colloquial name. We certainly, in the discussions we've had with the United States, put a position that was consistent with ensuring our biosecurity is looked after. Then we would give consideration, but that didn't progress.
I think there is opportunity for us to take what is a bad decision, and it's a decision I'm dead against, that's been made by the President. I want to turn that into an opportunity for our country. I want to make sure that we can export more beef. There is enormous opportunity, but the Prime Minister hasn't spoken about any of that to President Trump because he hasn't been able to get even a phone call with the President, and I think that's a big part of the problem.
So here we are, coming to the end of the first week in this election campaign, and the biggest issue is Donald Trump. Who would have thunk it? Who can stand up to Trump? Who can deal with him? Who can look after Australia's interests best? To be sure, this is a difficult challenge for both sides. But let's be frank. Would Albanese really have sent his mate Kevin Rudd to Washington if he knew this is where we would end up? Do we really want the fate of the nation now resting in Kevin Rudd's hands? It seems we've flipped back about 4 elections.